So we'll just start over. I'm here with Ana Aristigieta. Did I say that right? Okay.
Yep.
I'm here with Ana Aristigieta for the Combat Sports Report, episode 2. So we were just kind of discussing before we had that little break in service here, but I was asking you a little bit about your background. You said you had a lot of tournament fights in Muay Thai, and this is the first one that's kind of, a standalone fight. So could you kind of talk to me a little bit about your experience and how you kind of got to the point you're at now?
Yeah. I'm born and raised in Venezuela. I grew up in, and then I moved out here for college. I studied at CBD and I just went to an Eastern location trying to get a good workout, and I just never left. I stuck with it, and I started competing in 2029 was the first real scrimmage situation I had, and I just, again, I fell in love with it. It became addictive to me.
Okay, so I mean, what motivated you to go to Easton of all the gyms? I mean, you're no offense, but I mean, a lot of females get into cardio kickboxing or just kind of looking to get a sweat in. You went to, a premier fighting gym. What was that by accident or?
Um, Kind of by accident, kind of really good reviews. Um, it was kind of like get workout in, but if I also learned a martial art along the way, I was like, oh, that's great. For me, it was really like, I don't know, kind of a flex on people. Like, oh yeah, I do kickboxing, and then it just transformed into my sport, my life, something I do literally every day. Um, so yeah, just by dance, and I stayed because it was real. It was martial art, very well. I don't know, very good schedule, very good program.
That's awesome, man. I mean, like, I hate to make it about me, but I remember walking into my first gym and the guy was in jeans and he was just kind of, just go hit the bag, and it was not that at all. So I mean, you got super lucky going to Easton.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
A little spoiled. A little spoiled. Whenever I go visit other gyms, whenever I'm traveling, I'm just like, my pool is better. Like, thank you for having me. My pool is better.
as long as you're aware, you're spoiled. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess what changes going from a tournament setting to the standalone fight setting? I mean, obviously the bright lights are on you, but are you doing multiple fights in one day versus just one? So I guess what's different the day of, and how does your training reflect that?
I think the biggest thing is weight management. In fighting, you have to make weight every single day you fight. So if you're fighting for multiple days, having a very successful bout, um, you have to keep your weight down and keep it consistent. In terms of training, when you have a name on your fight, when you know exactly who you're fighting, the type of training you do is very tailored to that person. So your style always is to um, just obviously be the best fighter you can be, but also knowing what the bringing to the ring. Um, I guess the biggest part, or like the biggest change from fighting to standalone, has been the fact that I, like, random people I've never talked about, I've never even met, have ever like, hey, we're fighting on Sparta. I don't know who you are. This is really weird, but thank you. Um, Hi. I'm not used to having the, like, people know my name or try to pronounce it at all. And the fact that I've been shown so much love by my own community and just even random people that are part of Muay Thai in Colorado but have never been either. It's really incredible. It's really.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's one of those things you don't really consider. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go work out a sweat. Next thing you know, you're a local celebrity. So I mean, if you stick with it, it's just kind of.
I wouldn't call myself a celebrity, not by any means, but yeah,
I mean, you might not, but give it 4 or 5 fights. I promise you, man, it happens to everybody. Like, you go to see these guys, and I've just dropped into so many gyms. You see a local blue belt, and then like 5 to 10 years later, he's in the UFC, and everybody's like, oh my God, it's this guy. So I mean, it sneaks up on you, especially being at Easton. They kind of have a little. They have a means of doing that, just kind of taking everyday people, turn them into superstars. So that's kind of cool. I'm glad you're getting the notoriety. I guess I've talked to a lot of your training partners. You guys are all totally different personalities. It's insane. Could you kind of talk to me about that training room? I mean, it is a collage of human beings.
it really is just a mix of the most amazing people. we come from very different backgrounds all over the states, all over the world. Very different views on the world, but I guess the uniting factor, and this is so cliche, is the love of the sport and how we approach training, and how every single drill, every single sparring round, everything has something to teach you, and you can always give something and then take something away from that. Personalities do play a role in that, but the love of the sport just surpasses everything.
Okay. So what I guess my follow-up question would be what draws you to the sport after, all this time? You obviously said it was a flex, but I mean, I guess kind of speak on a little bit about like the life lessons you've learned and why you kind of chose to pursue this long term.
I It's gonna sound really weird, but it didn't even notice that I was pursuing it long term up until I had been a year since I first set foot. I'm like, wow, I'm doing this for a year consistently, and I'm so much better. Watching my coaches both start to believe in me and start to see what I could develop and encourage you to go forward was definitely the biggest part of that, because I'm not a person that had a lot of experience in sport before. Like, school and that, like, it was very, very non-committal. I wasn't much in sport, but as soon as I set foot in a Muay Thai room, I was like, this is for me. I just didn't know how far I could take it up until my coach pushed me to try, pushed me to just get in the ring and see what happens. Try this out and add a smoker and let me know how you feel afterwards. And I just wanted to keep going. So I kind of didn't notice that it had been I think a little bit over 3 years now since I've been training, and it's flown by.
Okay. I mean, what do you see yourself achieving? Is it kind of, you're just kind of throwing your hands up and wherever the coaches suggest is the next move is the next move, or do you have a long-term, goal for fighting?
I don't see myself as a pro fighter. I don't think that's what my journey is gonna look like. I think ideally I'll get IFMA and be able to represent the States if I get a chance to. But right now, I want to take advantage of every opportunity that comes to me here locally. Maybe in the States, maybe at a national level. Qualifiers up in April. And maybe try my hand at MMA. Who knows? Mix up the sports a little bit. Who knows? At this point, I'm just enjoying the ride, taking every opportunity I can, and hoping for the best.
Okay. And that was kind of going to be my natural next question. Obviously, you have a Muay Thai fight coming up, but do you dabble in jiu-jitsu at all? Any wrestling, anything like that, or is it strictly stand-up?
I have not done jiu-jitsu in a little bit, but my original training was both kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, and I loved it. I loved jiu-jitsu. It's just that as soon as Muay Thai started being a priority in my life, it was really hard to cross-train and still perform at the level I wanted to in both sports. So you kind of have to choose one or the other. I'd love to go back to jiu-jitsu and try my hand at MMA. I am very competitive and I don't give up easily, and I always thought that jiu-jitsu was just the easiest accept.
Okay. And from what I did see in your past fights, it looks like you have quite a few finishes under your belt. Could you kind of talk to me about how that affects your decision making moving forward? So, I mean, obviously it's tournament, so you have multiple fights in one day. But I mean, if this fight goes your way and you get a quick finish, are you looking for a quick turnaround, or is it, let's take the breaks here, maybe start to shift gears towards MMA? Like, where's your mindset at with the results of this fight?
I think what me and my coaches decided, especially for this year, there are so many opportunities for me that I'm looking at as a Muay Thai fighter rather than a person who wants to try it. So especially the first half of this year, I'm going to just focus on Muay Thai. So hopefully, if this fight ends quickly, I'll be looking for the next opportunity. The one after that.
Okay. Um, and I guess that would bring me to my next question. With the competition scene in Colorado being the way it is, I know you guys have to travel a lot. I've seen it's not uncommon to see a guy from Denver on a Durango, area show, or even like Cheyenne, Wyoming. Like you guys travel. I think DJ told me he went to Idaho for a fight. Do you find that
Yeah,
it's do
I
you,
was at guys were all there.
okay? Do you find it's difficult to get work in Colorado, or is it a little bit different for you as a female?
Um, it's different for us women. I think athletes are not as encouraged in the sport. So finding about for me as a standalone fight in Colorado was huge for my gym. Like we didn't never thought this was gonna happen. It's just so rare that especially of my weight class, anything above like 115, almost unheard of.
Right.
So traveling like way we can get outs in the state, tournament fighting, bigger in the East Coast or the West Coast. Here in Colorado, not. So travel a lot. It makes it a little harder because of the part of the travel, but I don't know. It brings us together as a team.
Yeah.
And like we're all travel for that.
I think it almost helps you guys a little bit. I mean, especially if you're going to be going to that big stage, it's a part of the game is the travel, and a lot of guys the first time they do that is hey, you're going to the Contender Series. They have no experience, but like, like Easton guys, you're all over the place. So if I could hand you a magic wand, I guess, and you could just and change the landscape of the combat sports scene in Colorado, what would you like to see more of? Would it be more fights or just more gyms, or I guess what is the change you'd like to see in your community in terms of fighting?
I guess more more fights in terms of opportunity types of fights. I really like the Sparta as different in just the variety and that boxing bouts and Muay Thai all together and all very well wrapped. But I think it's very easy for me to just default and be like, there were more women in Colorado that got as good as us at Easton at the same rate. Keep that competitive going. I do believe that we're the program in Colorado, and that's my very biased opinion. But I would like more women in the sport that we're training at. Yeah.
I mean,
Just
that's kind of a little caveat I didn't think about either. I mean, there might be plenty of women at your weight, but it's are they also at your skill level? So I mean, you can get two, for instance, two blue belts same weight, but if one trains at Joe's Jitsu and the other's an Easton guy, it's probably not going to go great for Joe in the corner. But
yeah.
that's a good way to look at it. I mean, I really don't know too much about the Denver scene, so I mean, I'm always asking just out of curiosity. But I guess my final question for you, and then we'll get you out of here, is what is something you hope to accomplish before you're all done? Before you hang up the gloves, whether it's something, you know, emotional, mental, spiritual, or just like a big win, what's something you'd like to accomplish before you're all done?
I that's a really good question. I want to be able to say did it all. Like there was like, oh, I didn't get to do this one fight for my ACL. I want to be able to do everything, and with that is a level of both fighting you and really developing your mental as well as keeping health as like the priority. I cannot do anything if I'm not healthy, and I think that's something that I have learned the hard way with my gym. It is very easy to overtrain. It is very easy to be like, oh, I don't eat that much protein. I don't eat like it's gonna make me heavy. It doesn't matter. Health is wealth. It's the number one priority. So I guess if I am able to say I did everything I wanted to do at my body, and I did it to the best of my ability, I think that's how I want to end my walk away from it.
It's a very mature outlook considering, I mean, how young you are in the sport, believe it or not. I mean, a lot of guys are like, I want to be UFC champ, and like, you're already thinking about, well, I need to be able to sustain that. So, I mean, it's a very healthy, mature outlook, and I mean, I think that's a good way to do it too. If you, the worst thing you can have is regrets. You know what I mean? Oh, I wish I took that fight. I wish I did this. So I mean, if you can hang them up and be comfortable with what you did, that's an awesome, super healthy outlook. And I look forward to seeing your fight. I'm obviously a big fan at this point. So that's the skill. And I'm just looking forward to speaking with all of you guys after the fight, win, lose, or draw. I'm just kind of hoping to hear about your experiences, and I appreciate the time. So thank you so much.
No, thank you.
All right, take it easy. And again, best of skill. Talk to you on the flip side.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good one.
Hilton Honors slays.
Obsessed.
Points for a free stay? Yes, please.
Upgrade.
Loves it.
All these perks. We're sliving.
Totally sliving. I said that right?
Yeah.
When you want the celebrity treatment, no matter who you are, it matters where you stay.
That's hot.
Totally. Hilton Honors. Hilton for the stay.
This is Alpha Brain, and this is Hannah. Hannah's about to wrap up a big project for work. Well, just as soon as she answers that email. Right, it's Jackson's mealtime. So after she takes the dog to a meeting that could have been an email, she could use some focus. If you've got a lot going on or need to think clearly, we've got an Alpha Brain product that's got your back. It's not hard to get. I mean, you know how to shop. So, you want to be the best at whatever you do? Get Alpha Brain by Onnit. Focus where it matters most.
So first of all, this is your first, I guess, official fight, but I mean, you have a little bit of experience. So could you talk to me about what you've done prior to this and kind of stepping up in competition a little bit under the bright lights for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. From my end, I pretty much, I'm just a yes sir type of person. So I just took the path that my coaches thought was best for most of the athletes here. And we have like a progression system, right? So obviously you have a couple smokers, in-house, out-of-house. We do Muay Thai Colorado, so we compete in that pretty consistently. And then the first step to anything for us around here is 5280. And so I competed in one of those. Colorado State tournament, a couple other opportunities. I didn't have a chance to compete because of injuries and just other lingering things. And pretty much where I've gotten my record so far to get in the B classes, in 5280 and TBAs. So I competed in TBAs in June of last year, and I got to finals, and I ended up losing by decision in the finals. So yeah, it was tragic. I'm trying to go back and get that strap next time, but that's the goal.
Gotcha. So I mean, that's got to be playing into your mindset a little bit, right? I mean, like for jiu-jitsu guys, it's always didn't get the results I wanted. I mean, it's a little bit different for fighters. You guys have to wait like at least 8 weeks to get back in there. So I mean, is that playing into your mindset a little bit?
That's the thing, man. I mean, there's very few opportunities. One in America, but two in Colorado. Depending on your size, it could be even harder. And so we have to take those opportunities, and we got to capitalize on that. And so, for me, losing that, I think it wasn't the ending that I wanted, but it was the ending that I needed. I came out of that much hungrier. I got back like literally the second day back from we drove back one day, a full day from Iowa, and then as soon as I got back, we were like hitting pads again the next day. Turns out I had like something in my foot that was like semi-injured, so I was in a boot for a couple of weeks after that. But it's one of those things where it just leaves you hungrier, wanting more, and just kind of still pursuing, never settled, And so I've been on my grind nonstop since I started this sport, and I don't plan on slowing down anytime soon.
Gotcha. So I've talked to quite a few of your teammates leading up to this event, and everybody's kind of got like a super unique personality. How does that all work? How do you guys train together? Could you kind of explain that dynamic a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I love my team and community. Every one of our fighters has a very unique personality. That's totally correct. Dimitri, my boy Matt, my boy Mike Fitch, my boy Daniel. We got all sorts of just killers and just all sorts of just characters around us. So, it's I think the coolest thing about the whole thing is that we all can speak our own language of Muay Thai, and I think like our whole lifestyles, being brought up the way we were, coming from the backgrounds that we were, I think it speaks into our styles a lot. And I think it's once you get used to the sport, I think you can really see that. You can see like who's been like really through the tough times, who's an intellectual, like who's trying to do this or that. And we all have like certain gaps in our character as well as like our technique and training. So we help each other like kind of feel that for each other, right? And feel those boys and just keep supporting each other. So it's, you know, I love this community. I love my boys. They're the reasons that, like, when I have hard days and, you know, like if I'm overweight or anything, you know, they'll keep me accountable. Like, they'll bully you back into shape. So, I mean, they're some good lads.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Those are the people you want around you, right? Not everybody's gonna be there to say what you want to hear. They say what you need to hear.
No, that's exactly correct. Yeah.
So I guess my last question for you, and then you can give your shout outs. But what's something you'd like to accomplish on the regional scene? I mean, well, actually, let me rephrase. What's your long-term goal as a fighter, and what's something you'd like to accomplish on the regional scene?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I started this sport, I thought that my progression was going to be a lot faster, and the sport humbles you very quickly. It's one of those things where there's no posers, you know, you can't fake your way through this stuff. You're going to get exposed eventually. And so it's just, there's no secret to this. You just got to put in the work and day in and day out. And so as I've just kind of done that, I've just put on my blinders. I've just kept going forward, baby steps, baby jumps, whatever it is. I'm just headed in that direction. And I think the more I just follow the sport, I feel like, one, I love it, and two, I just want to see where my skill set and potential can be pushed to. So I think the plan right now is eventually to go pro. I would love a shot at IFMA. I would love a couple of titles out of TBAs, and eventually, you know, like I just want to spend some time in Thailand, and if I can do some of the circuits out there. I'm 29 right now. I turned 30 right after the fight. It's a week after my fight. I turned 30, so I'm trying to just finish the year on a good note and yeah, keep fighting up well until my body just holds up. You know, it seems like athletes are just kind of aging longer and longer in their careers. So I want to keep fighting up until 36, 38, like whatever it is. You know, if my body can keep up with it, and I have the time and energy, and you know, I can take care of all my other priorities. And that's the goal. I'd love to go pro eventually and just have one of these things that's in my utility belt as you know, as who I am, right? Whatever else I do and pursue, it's going to be something that just stays with me. And yeah, it's something I will be in for the rest of my life, regardless. If I'm not fighting, then I'm coaching. If I'm not coaching, then you know, I'll beat my son or something and like force him to go into, you know, it is what it is. But,
Yeah.
you know, sports not going anywhere out of my lifestyle.
My old coach used to have a saying. He said, "It's not child abuse if you call it training." So I mean,
There you go. See.
yeah. But I mean, you're still a relatively young guy. I mean, I think you might be surprised with the strides you can make. And I mean, like you said, 6 to 8 years. That's crazy progression, man. Like you've got the right mindset too. Especially if it's like, well, once my time is up as a fighter, what else can I give back as a coach or as a, you know what I mean, just as one of those guys in the gym. So I mean, you've got the right mindset.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm always trying to give out advice and stuff to the people around me, whether they want it or not. It's just, like, sometimes it just hurts my soul when I see somebody who's doing some bad form or technique. So I gotta say something.
That's what you said, man. It's what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. But
That's it.
any shout outs? Anybody you'd like to, you know what I mean, talk highly of or talk down to your opponent or whatever it is you do, it's your time. I mean,
No. It's all respect. It's a community sport, and I think sometimes like Muay Thai turns into a thing where people want it to be their own, and like, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's like none of ours, right? And it's just something that we're all just kind of like guests in. Things life. It is what it is. I just yeah. I mean, you know, all respect to my opponent. All respect to pound for pound. They're awesome, Jim. J-Ho is a really good guy, and my coaches are, you know, very respectful individuals. We're all about the community first. I think at this point, like, I'm just trying to make it there. Like, I need to, you know, keep my weight down, keep healthy, and then just shout out to my full performance. Always a shout out to my mom, though. She's my number one in my rock, so love her. Shout out to my dad always, and then just the support system around me, man. The community is amazing. The Muay Thai community is amazing. You know, I love Colorado. It's my favorite state. Every time I leave it, I want to come back. You know, it's a pleasure just being here and having the opportunity to compete.
awesome, man. That's great to hear. I mean, you've got the right mindset. Like I said, super humble dude. It was nice talking to you, and I wish you all the best. Like I said, you're still super young, man. I mean, let's keep in touch as you progress and stuff. I'd love to, just keep doing these interviews and, just touch base with you, see as you progress as a fighter. So I do appreciate the time. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for reaching out, man.
Of course, of course. Best of skill in your fight. I don't like best of luck. I mean, luck's for the unprepared, right? So.
That's right, man.
All right, have a good one, man. Take it easy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.